Good morning. My name is Peggy van der Plassche. Thank you for being here and welcome to my podcast. So today I want to chat about transformation because transformation really is the key for you to thrive in your life, in your career, but also in your company. And what I mean by that is that a company, an organization is very similar to an individual and the other way around. So what works for an individual works for an organization and vice versa. So I think it's super important to understand that because transformation is not something we usually embrace. Personally, it has always been part of my DNA. I changed countries, cities, career, language. I changed everything I could. I changed it 5 times. And even within my career, actually my focus was and has always been on transformation, whether it was bringing innovation to large organizations, whether it was investing in innovative technologies, or now as well in transforming people via microdosing. Transformation has always been my bread and butter for myself, but also as a professional area of expertise. And I see transformation as an undeniable part of growth. There is no growth that happens without transformation. Obviously, if you don't change your input, your outputs will not change, no matter how much you look at it. That's the nature of the beast. So uh, it is very difficult to transform. I mean, transformation is painful, and I would say it's even more painful when it is forced upon us. And you can probably think about events that happened in your life when you were forced to change, forced to transform, even if maybe now, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years later, you're happy that that change happened. You did not enjoy that process when it happened. That's why I'm a big proponent of being on the front foot, deciding by myself when it's time to change, that I constantly need to improve and transform, versus waiting again for external circumstances to be forcing me to change. And that's again, whether you're an organization, whether you're an individual, it is the same thing. You want to transform before it becomes a necessity. And embracing transformation is really your key to thrive, not just survive. So um, I, I really think that success, resilience, and thriving comes from transformation. So how do I look at transformation? I really look at it from the inside out. It's really, for me, the key to success is to not focus on what others are doing. And I see that very often when I advise companies, when I advise individuals, there is always this competition focus. And I don't think that changing based on what your neighbor is doing, based on what your competitive organization is doing, is going to be helpful for you. Because best case scenario, you're going to play catch up, you're going to imitate them, but it's a very reactive way. Um, the real transformation really happens when you focus deeply on your unique attributes, your DNA, and you find ways to deepen and expand these unique advantages. Yes, of course, you supersede the external circumstances, where is the economy, what's happening, and all that stuff, but not by being pressured by external organizations. So if you think about Apple, that's a great example of transformation under Steve Jobs. Instead of being competitors, Apple really doubled down on their core strength, which is designing very intuitive and beautifully crafted technology. And really, by embracing again their unique DNA, Apple transformed from a struggling tech company. We tend to forget that Apple at some point was struggling, and it transformed into a global leader in innovation. But they did it on their own playbook, on their own agenda. You can look as well at Netflix, for example. So Netflix, maybe some of you know that, maybe some of you don't. They pivoted from DVD rentals to streaming. They didn't start as a streaming company, Netflix. They didn't imitate, what competitors were doing. They anticipated market changes and they leaned into their unique strengths, which was data-driven personalization and digital-first content. And that shift positioned them as an industry giant. While competitors who resisted transformation, they were left behind. I'm sure many of you who are listening today have no idea who or what Blockbusters is or actually was. So it is very, very, very important that when you look at transformation, you put aside what your competitors are doing and you're really focusing on you, your unique DNA. Yes, in the context of the market, of course, but focus on you. Forget about them, whether as an organization or an individual, same rationale. So for years, I have advised companies on transformation. Actually, even when I had full-time permanent roles in this space, I was VP Innovation for a Canadian bank. I always felt that bringing in independent advisor made far more sense than having permanent role. I really don't think that transformation should require a permanent role, even if I held that type of role myself. I think innovation and transformation should be embedded in a company's processes. Hiring a chief transformation officer for the long term, and maybe it's something very short term, and then an organization is going to have to let go of these people. But if you're hiring this type of role for the long term, it's like having a chief fax officer or a chief email officer in the 90s. At some point, the transformation is integrated and the role becomes redundant. So that's one of the reasons I think having an independent advisor makes way more sense than having an employee. The second reason I think it makes way more sense is the objectivity. And if you've worked in any type of organizations, you know that internal politics, concern for one's own career, corporate bureaucracy, they get in the way of transformation. When you work with an independent advisor that who doesn't have to deal with this constraint, they can provide the best and the most unbiased recommendation. And the third reason to hire independent advisor like myself for transformation agenda is really to avoid that cookie cutter consulting trap. And what I mean by that is that large consulting firms, and I worked with a lot of them as a client, they tend to pitch the same strategies to every client, regardless of their unique DNA. So 5 large banks in Canada, 6 maybe, they will all be pitched the same strategy by consulting A, consulting B, consulting C. And the worst thing, let's be honest, is that these consulting companies, they often transfer insight that have been gained from one client to another, including direct competitors. So you end up paying to train consultants who then go on to help your rivals. And obviously, cherry on the pie is the very expensive fees, the constant upselling as well, and the revolving door of consultants you're going to have to deal with when you work with this type of organization. So you really, really have to think when you're looking at your organization, and whether you're a small, medium organization of a Fortune 500 organization, it's the same rationale. If you're trying to transform your organization, you're going to have to do it strategically, and an independent advisor is going to be the best position for that. So again, as I mentioned, focus on your unique DNA. You need a unique, tailored approach to transformation that is really focusing on your own DNA. So when I work with organizations, whether they're small, whether they're large, I take a radically different approach than the big consulting company. I focus deeply on your unique DNA and I build a tailor-made plan that is really a fit. I don't recycle generic strategy. But what I do is that I use my 20 years of experience for pattern recognition, really, not for copy-pasting solutions. So that is a huge difference. So next time you hire someone to help you with your strategy and transform, think about it. Do you want the same thing than your neighbor, or do you want something that is specific to you, but based on, again, pattern recognition? So every project is different, whether it's market expansion, whether it's product development, whether it's efficiency programs, transaction, technology integrations. I mean, I have built unique strategic and technology roadmaps. I built operating and engagement models specifically tailored to specific goals. I advise on transaction, capital allocation. I reviewed portfolio manager and investment strategy. So all of that obviously build onto each other. And this is done with the unique client's strength and opportunities in mind. So, because again, whether it's personal, professional, organizational transformation, one thing remains true: personalization come first. You and your organization are not just random numbers. Your attributes deserve high level attention and a strategy built for you, not for the masses. So next time really you're thinking about taking your life, your career, your organization to the next level, ask yourself, do you want the cookie cutter approach that keeps you playing catch up, by the way? Or do you want a transformation strategy that is built around your unique DNA? So when you're done thinking, I think it's a pretty easy conclusion. Reach out. You can find me on my website, PVDP Advisory Services. You can answer to that newsletter. But once again, make yourself a favor. Really think about, what do you deserve? Do you deserve the same as everyone else? Or do you deserve something that's going to really bring your organization and or yourself to the next level? Thank you so much. Have a good day.